Good afternoon or good morning. Well, wherever time you're watching us, we are always for you. We are Venture Central. This is Michał and Arek Hajduk. We have an interview for you today. Arek, who's our guest?
So we will bring Jan Palasinski, who
The
has
name sounds
very unique
Polish.
background.
Yeah.
Name sounds Polish, but we will get to that. But before that, please remember to support us, like, subscribe,
Usual stuff. Yeah,
and
are.
then
You need to
also you can
subscribe
buy
us.
us
You need
coffee.
to like us. You can buy us a coffee. There's just above me. There's a QR code to scan. There's another QR code that you will see in a second for ordering supplements from Nikalab. Support us. We get some of it, and you get something out of it because those supplements are cheaper because you buy us through our link. And
And we both use the supplements. You can see it in the background
you
as
can
well.
see how great we are looking because of that. In below the video there will be links. If you fail to catch those QR codes, they are still available afterwards. But right now let's switch to our guest. Let's invite Jan. I hope he's with us already. Yes, he's here. Just a second. Let's switch him to the main view. Hello.
Oh.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, Jan. Jan, when we invited you, I was, 100% sure that you're Polish. But as the story goes, you're Polish-born, but you are Italian. Well, tell us the story.
Yeah. So the story is rather complicated, and I was a little child, and my father happened to be in Rome in the middle of the military coup that happened, I think, in 1982. And since, let's say, he wasn't very liked by that new government, he couldn't really move back, and eventually somehow we managed, my mother, my sister, and myself, so mother and two little kids, to come to Italy. And we've grown up in like a little town close to Rome, and we could only visit Poland then for the first time after the Berlin Wall and 1989, 1990. So that's how it happened. And once we were already, like older kids, my father had a job in the meantime in Italy, my mom as well. So we just stayed. We loved the country. And at a certain point, the family took the Italian citizenship. And I kind of have this Polish blood, but strong Italian accent, and actually only the Italian passport as we speak. I haven't renewed the Polish one for probably 20 years now.
Cool.
Okay.
And you are Italian VC right now. That's why we're talking today, right?
Yeah, I'm actually global VC, but based in Rome.
Just to finish the family story, you told us before that there was this book released about your family. It's not usually that that there is a book about the family. Tell us that.
Yeah, exactly. So of course, when we spoke for the first time, I didn't even know that, but it was released really just a couple of days ago. So my aunt, Teresa Czerniewicz-Umer, just released a book about, let's say, my mother's side of the family, which is also the family Żabiński. So the book is called Żabińscy, Cóż to była za rodzina? Maybe then you publish a link for the international speakers who won't understand how to write it, which is a story of this family who has several interesting members. Let's say the big highlight is Jan Żabiński, who was the director of Warsaw Zoo. And he saved many Jews during World War II, the Nazi occupation. by hiding them in the cages of the animals. There was also a book about him and his wife, the zookeeper's wife, also a movie pretty successful. So this is the story that sort of touches that person, but also the rest of the family. So I invite all the Polish audience to buy the book and check it out.
And you're also related to a famous Polish journalist, Jacek Palasinski, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my father. Also, very interesting person. I already mentioned, no, the Italian part. He was the correspondent from Rome when there was John Paul II, the Polish Pope. Now he lives with my mom back in Warsaw, so I visit every year, typically for Christmas. So yeah, very. I also invite to buy his books. No, he published several books, and to watch his show on natemat.pl. And now we finish with advertising. No.
Now, do you feel like an urge to publish a book sometime?
Yes.
Actually, no. I feel an urge to find the time to sleep. So maybe when I retire.
Perfect.
Okay. So
Yeah,
what makes you like not retire? What's your what's the current thing that you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm a venture capitalist in a global VC firm called Future Energy Ventures, which is based, let's say, headquartered in Germany with offices in Palo Alto, Tel Aviv, Rome, Essen, and Madrid. We managed two funds. First fund, around 300 million under management, 50 investments. Second fund, 230 million, and we just closed this one in December. So we invest in early stage startups across topics energy transition and climate tech, typically Series A or Series B. Sometimes we go a bit earlier, like late seed. Yeah, what does that mean? Also, energy is for us mainly electrification of everything. So buildings, mobility, of course, everything around energy generation, transportation, storage, and climate tech. We mean every technology that can help decarbonizing the planet, including everything that is happening around AI, data center, energy consumption. We also touch upon Earth observation, so the space economy, but with a clear software angle. No? So we typically prefer digital asset-light startups that can scale fast, although we made a few exceptions. So for the great founders and the great co-investors, we are open for exceptions, but we are not actively seeking those kind of deals.
So why clean tech? Because it sounds very un-American right now, right?
Well, clean tech.
Like the global trends are Trump is carbonizing, right?
I know, the beautiful clean coal, he calls it. No.
Yes.
So first of all, you cannot say the C word anymore. No, clean tech is the old word. Now you have to call it climate tech. Some people will tell you that there is a big difference. It's like very different things. I'm more from the old school. So for me, clean tech, climate tech, whatever you want to call it, it's the purpose that counts. No? So the purpose is decarbonize, stop global warming, get to 2050 with a world that is not warming anymore. So this is the most important topic that we have right now, together with the defense, obviously, because if we blow up humanity before, doesn't really matter 2050. So that's also very important. So let's stay optimistic on that side. What do we need? No, we need clean energy. We want progress. We want prosperity. We have now AI. We will soon have AGI. but this all requires energy. So right now, all this is being powered by in whatever mode sourced gas turbines or even coal. And this is what we want to stop, no? So the mission of myself and our fund is to use the lifetime of this fund that we just raised, so 10 years, to have an immediate impact. So whatever we will invest, and that's why we also do software, has to scale fast and bring the CO2 levels down. So how do you do it? You do it by working on energy. So the data centers will continue to be built. We can't stop it. We don't want to stop it. What we want is that they take as much energy from the grid, because the grid is cleaner than a coal or gas turbine that is built nearby. And of course, to build as many renewables as possible in the grid, so that the share of renewables that comes from this electric grid is higher and higher and higher. And eventually we are in 2050, where the grid is fully or mostly decarbonized, and the problem is almost solved. And then we can sort of think about incremental improvements to make it perfect. No, right now I'm more into, let's do the big things, the big movements, and then we will think about perfection later on.
You've been investing in energy for a while now. You started in investment banking, and you switched to energy due to this mission, because it feels like you're mission driven.
Yeah, actually, when I was in the bank, I was already fully on the renewable energy path, because I was in the project finance department. So back then it was mainly wind farms. I was financing hundreds of megawatts of wind farms, mainly in Italy, although we did also some deals more like international. But the reason why I started that career was because it was also purpose driven. I wouldn't say the most fun environment to work, especially after Lehman. That was always my wish, to have a purpose, to have a mission. And after doing that for like 8 years, I decided to move on, and I found this job in Germany in venture capital. So completely changed my life. Restarted from scratch, like as analyst from really bottom of the ladder. But I really felt in love with this job, with this industry, talking to these brilliant founders, being able to invest in them, to grow with them, and no day was ever the same as it used to be the case in the bank. No, that was pretty standardized type of job, still bringing CO2 impact, but became a bit boring. No, now I have so much fun, stressful fun, but still fun.
I wonder if there is less Excel involved in those two words. But you switched to corporate venture capital, right? Because Future Energy Venture is a pure VC, but you've been working in a corporate VC. Can you tell us what is CVC and how does it work compared to current fund?
Yeah, so actually the first fund I worked for was not a CVC, was like this clean tech 1.0 fund in the bubble era. And then I moved to E.ON in the corporate venture capital arm. So that's what CVC stands for, corporate venture capital, which eventually is still venture capital. The main difference is that you have one limited partner who is the corporate. And in most of the cases, it's not only about making a financial return, but even more than that, it's about having a strategic impact on mother company. How is this delivered? So this is typically delivered by bringing external innovation into the company. So looking at topics that are not yet on the radar of the mother company. Why? Because the managers are typically incentivized at delivering the budget. So they think about this year, maybe next year. They don't think 5 years from now or even 10 years from now. So typically you have the innovation department that has to look into these things more from a procurement angle, no more for, let's test this technology, let's try to find a way to work together. But in most of the cases, startups are too early to be able to cooperate with a complex entity like a corporate. It's okay for the pilot, but to go beyond that, it's not easy, so it works, let's say, in 10% of the times. So that's when you realize that you need corporate venture capital, because by being able to invest into this company, to be in the equity, you can follow their journey until they are ready to even work with the corporate. In the meantime, they will work with other clients, they will grow, they will find their way, and they will get feedback from the corporate. So there is this dialogue that becomes much more friendly if you have also invested in the equity. And then if the startup is good, the corporate ideally gets the commercial collaboration, all the learnings, all the innovation, plus, of course, the access to the upside from the equity value increase that typically can be, let's say, 10, 20 million euros valuation when you enter into the company, and ideally hundreds of millions when you exit. So you got the revenues and becoming innovative via the partnership, plus the cherry on the pie, which is the equity return. That's the theory, no? And in practice, whether it works or not, it's a different story. But that's how it should be.
So it's good that you mentioned the difference between theory and practice, because most of the CVCs, they don't work, right? And the reason is probably in this conflict of interest between strategic and financial returns.
I'm thinking of a diplomatic answer here, and I'm not good at this thing.
That's a strong claim here by Arek.
Yes. Unsubstantiated.
The main reason is that everything in the world is people's business, no? And corporate and CVC is not different. So if the idea is that you will have the commercial partnership and the financial return, this depends on how well the people will be able to work together, and you will have personalities at the startup, and you will have personalities at the corporate, and especially at the corporate level, you will have turnover. You will have people moving on, getting promoted, someone else coming in. So whatever happened at the point of investment doesn't necessarily continue when people move on, no? And that's one of the reasons why these commercial relationships don't always work as hoped. There is not enough patience as well, no? Building a business is difficult. So whoever thinks that everything is roses and flowers, easy, and it must be successful, didn't understand what venture capital is about, no? Venture capital is about failing a lot to then be able to also be super successful in a few cases. And having a management of a large corporation that reports to public shareholders, analysts, and newspapers is not trivial. So you really need to have advanced thinkers in the management, and structures within the corporate that make it possible for such entities to survive a CEO change or market changes, share price changes. No, I think corporate venture capital is necessary, but as said, the corporates who have it for longer time at a certain point realized that the best way to make it work is actually to focus much more on the financial part than on the strategic part. Because if the financial part is successful, it automatically means that the company is good and that there are good chances that whoever is in charge will want to work with this company just because the company is good. And by providing the incentive to your CVC team to spot the best companies they think are the best, rather than the current manager of a business unit thinks it, that's the big differentiator, no? And also probably having evergreen structures rather than the classic 10-year fund structure helps, because it communicates that you need patience, no? So these are, I think, the topics that the smartest VCs or CVCs realized, and that's why they are still there.
Yeah, and I think that you also have a lot of patience because even after, because you left the CVC, right? But you still cooperate with the same entities in a way, right? They are now your investors.
Yes, yes. So E.ON has been, I think, very advanced limited partner. We really created a fantastic portfolio back then as a CVC. Right now, they are also one of the anchor LPs in our new fund at Future Energy Ventures. We are very happy about the collaboration. We get a lot of insights from them. Our startups too have access to experts whenever they want. They also have a very good accelerator called the Free Electrons, where startups can participate, and we get also like mutual deal flow sharing out of that. So yeah, it's a very good partnership, but I think also moving on to this purely financial structure was and will be very beneficial for both. Also because in the meantime, they created certain structures that are very specifically targeting startup corporate collaboration. They professionalize that a lot. Similar to venture client model. That's another buzzword you might want to know about. So there is a bit less need for a CVC if you are an LP in a financially driven fund who is still very willing to talk to you and to bring this external innovation into your company, but sharing then the burden of the equity commitment with other limited partners.
We could do the whole episode on CVC, but I would like to switch gears to Italy, because your unique background give us a chance to discuss this ecosystem. We have here at Venture Central a road trip series where we go via several countries. What can you tell us about the Italian startup ecosystem? We know that the stereotypes about bureaucracy, conservative banks, for example, right, and great technical minds leaving Italy are there. What is true and what is not?
I mean, everything is true. That said, it's also a growing ecosystem. No, it's like early days. I typically compare it to Germany or France 10 years ago, why is that? No, because Germany, for example, created KfW and high-tech Gründerfonds, who started to pour money in the ecosystem, and that eventually compounds. So in France, there was BPI France who did the same, and tons of startups were born. So in Italy, a few years ago, CDP Venture Capital was created with the same ambition, and they invested in probably all venture capital funds that exist in Italy. They also did direct investments into almost all the startups that popped up. So this is probably not super efficient in terms of hit rate of how many good, how many bad ones you will have at the end. But that's exactly the role of the public. No? So the public has to communicate to the ecosystem, dear talent, dear founder, if you have an idea, I get you covered. So don't worry about the money, bring your idea forward. And by sort of the law of big numbers, some founders are really good and are bringing this ecosystem forward. Some others obviously not, and they are just trying to benefit from this ease of access to capital. But these inefficiencies happened also in other ecosystems. So I'm actually bullish about Italy. I'm meeting a lot of excellent founders, also founders who want to stay, who don't worry too much about bureaucracy hurdles. Germany is not that different. Germany is also super bureaucratic, but that didn't stop the ecosystem to thrive and to be probably the best in the EU. So that's more of an excuse, no? Italy is full of smart people. In the past, they had to go abroad to get financed. There were many success stories. Now you don't need to do that anymore. There is money, and I'm sure that my current fund will do 3, 4, 5 investments in Italy. And if you want to compare to Poland, I think it's pretty similar, no? So I'm preempting your next question, but Poland, in my view, is in the same phase. No, there is PFR and BGK who are doing the same that CDP is doing, and this is causing startups to pop up. And again, Poland is full of super intelligent people. The school system is one of the best in Europe, in my view. Especially IT, software talent. I think also there is a compounding element of several industrial players coming from around the world opening shop in Poland. First they came for the cheap labor. Now I think they are coming for the talent, and I think salaries are getting even comparable to Germany. So also very bullish on Poland. We are currently looking at 2 startups in Poland, one in Italy as we speak for investments. So you will hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, hear about these investments a few weeks after the podcast goes live.
Okay.
Okay, we'll be monitoring that.
Yeah, you mentioned BGK. BGK also invested in future energy ventures. It was 20 millions. And I've read that the main, and it was in the press, so correct me if it's correct, but they said that the reason for backing future energy ventures is due to very low percentage of energy startups venture funded in Poland. And the BGK goal is to insert this money into Polish ecosystem exactly in the manner you described for Italy. Do you feel like this is the right approach? I mean, global VC having some kind of ticket only for one country. How should it work?
Yeah, I mean, it works by the fact that we have our network, we have our database of startups in the energy and climate tech space active in Poland. And when we decided to cooperate with BGK, we knew that it's highly likely that we will spend this money. We would have probably spent the money even without BGK, because there are a few very promising companies, and we see this money as further push to double down on this market that was anyway on our radar.
So that means that you already have, you know the market. You have you do your own research on Poland and Polish startups, and it's not very foreign market for you, right? You know where to turn and where to look for startups.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and again, we have actually, if we include myself, we have 3 Polish people in the fund with their network. And as I said, we are a global investor, so we cover every country in Europe plus US. So we were doing it already for years. No, it just didn't happen that we invested before. Mainly because, I said, early stage ecosystem also means early stage startups. No? And we are a Series A, Series B investor. So these startups that we are talking about were not ready yet. But right now and in the next couple of years, which is our investment period, they will be. And then, since we really believe these are pretty good companies, it's about also being good at getting into these deals. No, we are not doing it without competition. There are all the local VCs who obviously know this ecosystem better than we do. They know the founders. They are on the ground. But there are also many international VCs who are more and more looking into Poland or Italy or any country that was a bit under, let's say, the radar in the last years, because that's also where you can find alpha. No, you can find these companies like 11 Labs, ICEYE, and similar if you look for them.
Okay, and let's say I'm a Polish founder in energy or climate or whatever, and I would like to get to your radar. What should I do? Should I shoot you an email, or I know?
So email, sure. If you get access to my email, feel free. The issue is that I have probably 200 emails per day. So yeah, my unread emails counter, I think, went into like too big number. But yeah, we also have a website where you can easily upload your deck, and we have some AI, but also people reviewing that regularly and kind of pre-screening whether a startup is interesting or not. And after that pre-screening, it goes on the desk of a partner. So that's one way. Another way, you can obviously try via LinkedIn. You can try via email. You can try with a warm intro if you have other VCs or founders that already know me. So we are not different from other funds in a way, So if you are a good company, I will definitely realize and make sure I talk to you. If I don't reply, maybe ask yourself a few questions.
That's a nice way of dodging it. Do you work with Polish funds? Because you said that you compete with them for local deals because they understanding, but do you also co-invest?
Yes, I mean, of course, we didn't do it yet, but that would be the target. It's actually the ideal, no? Because as I said, since they are in the market now for several years, they also have certain insights that we might not have. So we are in regular touch with several VCs like Movens, OTB, SpeedUp, SMOK, etc., Market One. Yeah, we would love to co-invest, and it will certainly happen.
Just before we will jump into details about future energy ventures, you said something about the level of development of Italian startup ecosystem being on the same level as Poland, but few years after the rest of Europe, right? And if what should change that we close this gap? Because it feels like we are running and after them, but they are running away, right? So what should we do to catch up?
Catching up, I don't know, but let's say there are some technologies that can help the leap, no? So obviously we are in the era of AI, and who manages to master that wave can be the number one. Right now, you don't really need to be in San Francisco, in Palo Alto, to be the best company at doing certain things, no? And said 11 Labs is a proof of that, but there can be several ones, no? We live in the metaverse in the end. Everything is online. You can build a business online. So what can we do? I think we can continue doing what we are doing. So search for talent, give money to this talent, help them realize their dream. In the end, it's about these exceptional people who are born for a specific mission, and they just need someone who believes in them and gives them the instruments to realize the mission. So rather than complicating their trajectory, you mentioned bureaucracy, and all these things, let's try to simplify that. Giving them access to capital is the first thing. Bringing these foreign VCs in the ecosystem is second, because there is a lot of experience, a lot of mistakes that can be avoided by bringing the experience of the German ecosystem, of the US ecosystem into these countries. And then these founders have the talent to make it happen.
Okay. I feel very optimistic about your response. So,
but Arek, it's not about competing and running. Arek is a runner, so he thinks about running all the time. But it's not a race, right? And there could be different outcomes, right?
Well, I don't know. Jan, Future Energy Ventures. You are a global fund, but you're heavily focused, right, on those two themes. Like, is it making your life harder, or it's easier because people come to you with something that really interests you?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, even the most focused topic would be still difficult, because I tend to be interested about everything, no? So I think it's for how I am built, it's very helpful to have a focus, which happens to be also the mission of my life, no? So to decarbonize the planet. So I have no issues with it, no? But for example, we are very software focused. I also love hardware, no? So I could do both, but again, we deliberately decided to do software for the reasons I mentioned before, no? So fast scaling and immediate impact. But still, I really respect and appreciate all the other funds who also start developing the next wave of assets and hardware that maybe my next fund can deploy faster via software solutions. It's difficult because there is tons of companies, Arek. So there are really a lot of interesting companies. We see like 1,500 per year, new relevant companies, and we eventually invest in 6-7. So it's like extremely selective, and hopefully we are picking the right ones. but we are also leaving away many so good ones. I would invest in 50 per year if I could, no?
But your portfolio is pretty wide, right? You already over some years you invested what, in 50, 60 more entities?
Around 60.
Okay. What connects those bets? Is it only great founders, or you can see, I would imagine that, in a narrow view, you can connect the companies in your portfolio, and they can work together and get some extra value out of it.
I mean, what connects them is, of course, the fact that at the point of investment, we were convinced that these are great founders who have unique insights and capability to build a great business out of it. No, of course, as said before, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you cannot go back in time. You always take a decision based on the information you have at a specific point. No, a lot has changed over the years. No, so I think the main connection is that time moves, trends move, legislations move, and there is the right investment to do at the right point in time. And we always tried to pick these investments at the right point. Having a great team is like a prerequisite. No, you wouldn't invest in a bad team. So why we did these investments? Because we thought it was the right team at the right time in the right place, and hopefully we managed to get some good hits out of that, and we will continue and actually be better and better in this.
I think that you benefit from a specific thing, because you're not just one of many funds. You're the biggest in the niche, right? In your specialty, right? There is you're the whale around, right? Everyone who has something interesting in this area, like, should talk with you, right?
Yeah, I don't know if we are the largest. I also don't like this kind of metric. I prefer what experts call DPI, so money returned to the limited partners at the end of the cycle. That's what drives me. All the rest is noise. But definitely, if there is a startup working on energy and they don't reach out to us, they are making a big mistake. No, so we think we see 95% of them, but yeah, some of them still don't know us, and that's why it's also important to have a good marketing team. We have Moritz in our team who is doing a great job there to spread the name around, to be present at podcasts, at conferences, and any opportunity to explain to the world who we are, why we do what we do.
You mentioned a few buzzwords, and I have also one in mind: smart money. Smart money. This is one of the we hate with Michał, but I will ask you anyway. You as a fund have not E.ON, but also other industry related LPs. Is it your smart money part that you give your startups access to those guys in on a different level that traditional VC would?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have learned, let's say, with and together with the E.ON, we are now replicating across all the various strategic limited partners in the new fund. We always think about how we could help the startup, who we could introduce. We have regular calls with the limited partners. presenting what solutions the startup have, asking what problems they have that our startups could solve, and not only our startups. No, we tend to deliver this service also to startups we didn't invest into yet, because we see this as a sort of competitive advantage to showcase even before we invest what we can do for them later on. As I said, this is a very competitive environment in VC for the top deals. And if you want the best founders to think of you when they will need to raise a round, the best way is to give and give concrete topics rather than promise things that eventually you won't deliver. No, even if it's for free, even if it takes time in a busy schedule. I am a strong believer of karma, so I always try to give because I believe this comes back with interest.
Okay. Completely probably different subject, but we live in very turbulent times, right? There is a war around the corner.
Multiple wars.
Multiple wars, yeah, and all of them are touching energy market, more or less.
Very
right?
strongly. We see it, at the gas stations, right?
Yeah. How does it change the way you make bets, right? Because there is it another level of uncertainty, or is just you have no control over it, so you just let it be?
I mean, first of all, we cannot say that we make bets, no, because a bet is random. We try to de-randomize as much as possible in our investment process. Wars are shit, no. So of course, what we do. So these wars are mainly driven by the old economy, the one that will disappear. It's always about some oil, about some gas, access to minerals. So maybe that's the link to the new world, because the new world will require these rare earth materials. And I think, as you said, we cannot really control it. But I see a big element of peace that is actually created by renewables and decentralized energy, because in the moment, every country can produce their own clean energy without relying on these few countries who have oil and gas. This automatically reduces the need to start a new war. No? So the mission is completely unchanged. Staying far away from anything oil related was our mantra since forever. So actually, I was talking to another VC a few weeks ago that potentially these price spikes that we are seeing now due to the war, and again, it's not the first time, no, it's now the second time in a few years that prices are skyrocketing. The first time people started to buy solar, no, so there was a boom in solar on the roofs around like 2021. And then as soon as the energy prices cooled down, people kind of stopped. So solar industry went a bit in crisis. No, there were many insolvencies. It's not the best moment, at least in Europe. But now, if it's the second time, yeah, people maybe will start thinking, okay, maybe I should actually prepare because this might happen more often. So there is always also a positive aspect, even in dark times, to then get to this last straw that finally makes people understand how important it is to bring this energy transition until the end. So I am actually quite bullish that right now we will see a new boom of solar and batteries, hopefully also wind, to get rid of this dependence on fossils, not only because of the CO2 aspect that is important for us, but also because of the geopolitical aspects that are very connected to it.
What are your views on nuclear energy? You're a fan or not?
So my views are so you're getting me in trouble, no? So I think it's a big waste of time, and we should rather continue deploying a lot of solar and wind and batteries, just because in the time between starting to develop a new nuclear plant and the moment this is built, and for how much it costs, you will have probably built an equivalent of 10 nuclear plants that come online immediately, year after year. So we need to decarbonize by 2050. We just have no time for that stuff, no? In the era of abundance, once we have solved the global warming topic, maybe this is the thing to consider. But right now, I see this as a big waste of time. I mean, some VCs are saying we are 2 years away, 3 years away from nuclear fusion. I'm rather pessimistic on that, no? So I still think it's 15 years on the optimistic side, and nuclear fission is all technology too expensive, and always a target for like wars, and everyone shits their pants when they say, you know, so some bombing near a nuclear plant. So why would we self-inflict this to ourselves again when we have the really beautiful solar, wind, and batteries that can
And it would be probably US made, right? So
yeah, you know, I also don't care too much about this. I think this phase we have now is just too crazy for it to happen again. So I'm quite optimistic that the next phase in the US will be kind of back to normal, back to rational, and I want Europe and US to be friends, to share all technologies, assets, and mission, and it will happen. I have no doubt.
so let's use that, you know, prophecy thing that you started to unravel in front of us. If you could point us, you know, to the country which you believe that will be the source of the future European unicorns, which would it be? Still Germany and UK, or some other contenders will appear? Italy?
I don't know. This is too crystal ball, no. So I think it can come from everywhere. It can come from everywhere because eventually, it's so. You know, I want to make this analogy. So Maradona was from Argentina, and you have one Maradona in the history of humanity, no? Then, yeah, you will have a Zidane, you will have a Baggio, you will have some of these, but these are rare. And where they are born is rather random. And as soon as these people realize that they are Maradona, if their own country won't be able to satisfy their need to deliver their mission, they will just move on to somewhere else. So it will happen anyways. I don't care where they do it. I really care that they manage to do it and they find someone who believes in them, because the prosperity of humanity, this depends on these few people, no? And why I love this job is because I can help these people realize these dreams, who eventually are benefiting all of us.
This is Lewandowski's story, right?
Yeah, that's a good, definitely a good player. Not at the level of those that I mentioned, but still.
Yeah, but he wasn't really recognized in Poland really for a
No?
long time.
Okay.
No, he had to move away. That's my knowledge about football. Arek probably knows more. But
Well,
yeah, okay.
I have this, here, so yeah, I'm pretty,
Yeah, I forgot Messi.
pretty
My
focused.
sorry, I should have mentioned Messi as well.
Jan,
Yeah.
we're coming close to the end of our interview, and we always have these 3 questions that we ask our guests. 3 same questions, and we ask you for quick answers. The first thing that pops to your mind. Michał, will you start?
Yeah, of course. So the first question is pretty straightforward. It's about you. Basically, what's your unique value proposition that you have for people that would like to work with you? Founders that come to you specifically. Why should they work with you and not someone else?
Because I'm easygoing, I tend to tell the truth, and I'm always available for them.
Nice. The second
But
question
you told us about those thousands of unread emails. That doesn't add up. Okay.
does not
No, but they are not coming from my founders. No, that's why I cannot answer to all, because I'm prioritizing my founders.
Good save,
Right.
good save. Jan, the second one is about anti-portfolio. What mistakes you made? What you wanted to invest and it ran away, or you fought too long?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to name a company, but I think that's the whole concept is nonsense, because you have an anti-portfolio of the good ones, but you also have an anti-portfolio of the bad ones that you wanted to do, but you were lucky not to do. So I think eventually they just balance themselves.
All right. Okay. So the last one, my favorite. And this is not necessarily about investing. It could be about anything, just whatever comes to your mind. So what is the thing that you truly believe in that most of the people don't believe in? What's your contrarian point of view?
Okay, I really want to give this one to the founders. Now, you told me that your audience has a lot of founders, and I have a contrarian view on how they should behave in between rounds. So there is a certain fashion of founders to raise the round and then stop talking to VCs until the next round, because they want to focus on building. No, and I think this is dumb, and they shouldn't do that. They should actually dedicate, let's say, half an hour per week to talk to VCs, because it's important also for them to establish a relationship, to understand with whom they want to work with, who will be the first person they want to call when they will launch the new round, rather than sending the deck to 100 VCs and then having to have 100 calls to explain the company. So you can, with a very low effort, build your priority list for the next round, get the key questions that can feed your Q&A in the data room, where when you have zero pressure, you can just do it as a fun side job while you are still building. That's what I would advise to all founders to do, not only out of self-interest, but really because I think they can benefit from it.
Good advice.
So simple thing that could help a lot, right?
Yeah, perfect. Jan, it was a pleasure to talk to you and get your perspective on Europe, and I think that optimistic view on
Bullish.
on the bullish, yeah, bullish view on the future is I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. It was a blast. I really enjoyed it too.